So you got your BS in music, and then you went to get your master's in music?
Yeah. Minnesota was, at the time, I think it had more students than any other campus in the United States. There were 42,000 students on that campus. And it was a campus that's in town, and so that's a lot of people. You know, when you start to change classes, sometimes that's not even easy. But it was good because I met people. I remember there was one girl in the organ program that I thought was just a whiz. She could just play things that I struggled with, but if she had to change the registration of anything, if she had to push a piston or move a stop or something, she just could not integrate that with her playing, and she would stop and do whatever she did to do, and then drove our teacher crazy. Because that was one of his things. He'd teach us how to integrate that so that nobody would be aware that we were doing anything mechanical. Not this girl. So she was just wonderful, but she could play stuff that I thought, that's not for me.
Forget it. So you got your, I guess you graduated from Huntington, and then you went to Minneapolis.
Yeah.
For your graduate.
Yeah, it's called a Master of Fine Arts. Yeah, it was a 3-year program.
And you're being modest now, I'm going to tell you, because he won't tell it himself. But he said that undergraduate school was not as challenging as what he found graduate school. Imagine, I can't even pour water out of a bucket. Most of you know that. But Gene telling that that he found more challenging work in graduate school as opposed to undergraduate school.
Well, it was more like it. It was more focused.
More focused.
Yeah. You know, it was music. I didn't take much of anything else. It was just mostly music. But I think the course that I enjoyed the most was advanced music theory, because the professor would take the style of a composer, for instance, Schumann, and he would tell us what was characteristic of the way Schumann wrote music. In other words, he gave us Schumann's recipe
For music.
For writing music. And then he'd ask us to write things using Schubert's style. And he said, it may not sound like Schubert, but if I can see that you're following his melodies, for instance, usually outline chords. If I can see that, then I know that you understand the concept. So that took a lot of extra work in order to make those assignments, but it was fun to do. Yeah. I really enjoyed it.
Well, you blew my mind totally when you told me about being able to sometimes you change it, and you'll have to forgive me because I don't know the music that well, but if it's written in A, that it's not that challenging to you to write it in say D.
Yeah.
But you do that. Yeah. I mean, that's part of your job, and that's phenomenal to me. I mean, imagine having to shift everything that's there.
Well, yeah, but you know, one of the sidelines. I mean, I'm working in a church, and we're playing Bach and those guys. But back in time, when movies didn't have sound, there was another set of musicians that played the organ for silent movies.
Theater music, right.
And these were the guys who could play any tune, any time, and in any key that they needed to fit to the picture. And I don't know how they did it. But they had special techniques all their own. They were wonderful. And those organs were made especially for sound effects.
Wow. I didn't know that.
The company that was the #1 company was, of course, the Wurlitzer Company. And this all came about so quickly. The movies just sort of burst onto the scene. Theaters were being built across the United States, and movies were being shown, but they needed some sort of musical accompaniment. Now, it could be just a piano. In fact, it was. but they had the theaters had already placed orders with Wurlitzer. Wurlitzer couldn't keep up with making organs that fast.
Wow.
And so other companies that made church organs began to help out. And so a lot of those theater organs, once again, they use the theater recipe for making their organs.
The organs.
It's still, basically, it's the same, except some of the stops are different. But I've always marveled at those guys because they were special. They could do things that I would love to know how they did things, how they made sound effects, how they changed the sound so readily as they went through. For a long time, organists like me looked down on them, but not anymore. I mean,
They were geniuses, weren't they?
they were geniuses. Yes, I have a lot of their records, by the way.
And in a few minutes, Gene's going to play live the Cuckoo Waltz, which we've got already edited into this film from his recital. He's going to play live here in a few minutes.